Natalie?
Well, I trust that Josh is genius.
After everything we've done, I don't see this as working.
You run after problem, you run away. This is not gonna help. If you're gonna run away, will be over. Do you know that?
I'm supposed to believe this story, and you're disappearing all the time? Up and you're gone, your location's off. What am I supposed to think? I can't trust you.
So, Natalie's deluded, and things really don't look good for Florian and Stacey or Brandon and Julia. But before we dive into it all, let's just kick off proceedings with something I very, very, very rarely ask. If you're watching this, if you enjoy my content, and if you've watched more than one of my videos in the last couple of weeks, do me a favour please, hit that subscribe button. YouTube tells me that over 70% of people watching this are return viewers, but aren't yet subscribed. If that's you, well, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and let's move on. Now, let's start off this recap video with getting to the bottom of whether or not Florian really cheated on Stacey. So, given Florian's past, and of course given what Darcy told Stacey in the last episode, it's safe to say that what little trust Stacey had in her husband is now at 0. In fact, Stacey spent the night away from Florian. She slept in Darcy's room. But when we join her the next morning, she's ready to confront Florian again. Tell me again what happened that night, she asks.
I go out with Darcy and Georgie, and basically like 2 girls come there. I left. One of the girls is walking same direction, you know, it's our neighbor basically.
Now, Florian explains that actually he didn't leave the club with either of the 2 blondes. One of them, he says, was drunk and she happened to be walking the same way home. I helped her by buzzing her up to her own apartment. It's exactly the same story that he gave last night, that the details haven't changed at all. So could that mean he's telling the truth?
So you didn't take her back to her apartment? Like,
No, what
house?
No.
You have a wham bam, thank you, ma'am?
No, thank you, ma'am. No, I don't do that, thank you, ma'am.
Florian can be aggressive, but gosh, he can also be unintentionally funny, can't he?
No, I don't do that, thank you, ma'am.
But the problem is, Stacey isn't finding this funny. In fact, she's really triggered by this whole event, and it's obvious she's not going to be able to forgive and forget so easily.
I'm supposed to believe this story, and you're disappearing all the time? Up and you're gone, your location's off. What am I supposed to think? I can't trust you.
Now, aside from the cheating, what's obviously hurt Stacey about this whole thing is that while Florian was out partying, she was at home healing from surgery. Like, she's his wife. She wants to be the girl that Florian takes the time to help, not some random drunk girl from a club.
I might be the damsel in distress. Take care of me, instead of other women in our building.
Stacey knows what Florian's like. She knows his chivalrous nature, right? She's coming round to the fact that he might be telling the truth, but she's not ready to let him off the hook just yet. She's not entirely sure that she can trust him yet. I'm gonna choose to believe you, she says, but be warned, Florian. Your actions make you seem more suspicious. This would have gone a whole lot smoother if you didn't act the way you did last night.
What?
You were like
take it.
barbaric. Stop getting
No,
aggressive and flipping it on me
I get that
defensive. That tells me that you're guilty.
No, I get very aggressive, to be honest with you. This is how I am, you know.
Now, I do have a little bit of sympathy for Florian, based on the fact that if you're being accused of doing something that you haven't done, it's natural to get animated and take offence to that. But Florian does have a habit of crossing the line. Now, he explains that he reacts the way he does because he's a hot-blooded Albanian. This is just how we all are, he says. I'm a product of where and how I was raised. But when we join them later on, it actually seems like what Stacey was saying may have got through to him. You see, during the therapy session, the pair talk about communication, or more accurately, Stacey talks because, well, Florian sucks at contributing during therapy.
It needs to start with baby steps like tone, you know, simple things like let's have eye contact. I think we need to go back to how we were when we first met.
Look, I get what Stacey's saying, but she does need to be a little bit careful about what she wishes for, because there is one couple who haven't changed a bit since the day they met. Natalie and Josh, and yeah, they're not doing so well. You see, during the trust exercise, the couples had to write down one thing that they trust about their partner, and Natalie's response proves without a shadow of a doubt that this woman is utterly detached from reality.
I trust that Josh is genius.
Excuse me.
And I admire him for his hard work. He's a self-made man.
I'm hearing
This
you
is
say I
first.
trust his decisions.
I do.
Really? Is that really what you hear? Because I just hear Natalie showing how out of touch she is. How on earth can she call Josh a genius? I mean, the guy isn't even smart enough to hide his tracks after sliding into Sophie's DMs. Like, no one can believe what they're hearing. Even Jasmine, the lady who always has all of the girls' backs, draws a line at this. She can't contain herself.
If Josh is a genius, then I'm Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, I'm on top of the world, Nobel Prize Jasmine.
Natalie calling Josh a genius is yet another example of her trying to pretend that she and Josh are somehow the ultimate couple. Now, later on in therapy, when they're asked to pick a problem in the relationship and come up with a band-aid solution, both Natalie and Josh both highlight the same problem. We need to stop disrespecting each other, they say, and in order to do that, we've come up with a big-brained solution. We've got a safe word.
Coming up with like a stopping point, like a word where, both of us kind of take a moment and for ourselves and like gather our thoughts, like where are we going with this?
It couldn't be more obvious that this band-aid is just for Natalie. It's a safe word for Natalie to use to control her own emotions, because Josh doesn't have that problem. He's the opposite. He holds back too much. Now, the word itself, the word that they've chosen, is the word infinity, because that happens to be Natalie's favourite word. But the problem is, a word isn't going to solve their issue. Sure, I mean, it's a nice thought, but their core problem remains. What is that, you might ask? Well, it's simple. It's the fact that Natalie is more into Josh than he's into her.
Josh and I, we share more than physical connection. We have spiritual connection. Infinity, it's a sign of death and reborn.
Right, sure, Natalie. If we all just keep quiet, I think eventually she'll tire herself out. At least that appears to be Josh's plan. It's been his plan all along. He's too much of a coward to break up with her. Now, to be fair, I would be too if she looked at me like that. But spiritual connection or not, it's only a matter of time before Natalie brings the topic right back round to her favourite point of contention, seeing Josh's house.
It's been 3 years and I have never, ever seen where he lives.
Yeah, well, we've only been getting along for 2 hours.
Yeah, the truth is, Natalie isn't going to get the answer that she wants anytime soon. Josh has been pretty clear that he doesn't want her crazy ass anywhere near his kids. Now, he manages to smoothly talk his way out of it this time. He brings the conversation back round to them respecting each other. If Natalie respects me, he says, then she will see my house one day. Maybe, possibly. Let's be honest, probably not.
Although we're taking steps forward, I'm still in the back of my mind thinking about, how bad I was treated for the majority of being here.
Oh, you mean how badly you were treated when it was discovered you'd slid into another girl's DMs? Josh seriously can't take accountability for anything. He's never done wrong ever. It's never his fault. It's horrifying to see. But the same can't be said for Julia. She's apologised profusely to Brandon, but it doesn't seem to have worked. You see, Brandon is so hurt that he's now considering leaving her.
If Brandon decides to leave, I'm not gonna be staying in this country. I will go home. I don't have anybody except Brandon here. Yeah. So what point I will be in this country if I don't have anybody here?
Now, Julia has dropped 2 bombshells on Brandon. The first being that she cheated on him very early in their relationship, and the second, that she's applied for a visa for her divorced parents to come and live with them in America behind his back. Like, Brandon has every right to feel like he's been betrayed, because he has.
I'm just so angry, and I'm done. I can't take her keeping things from me, and I'm just ready to go home.
Don't get me wrong, I understand why Brandon's annoyed. I get why he's annoyed about the cheating, and I understand why he's annoyed about her applying for a visa for her parents behind his back. His feelings are valid, I'm not disputing that, but there is something about Brandon, right, that dulls Julia's sparkle. Like, I used to think that they were good together. Yes, he's always been a mummy's boy, but I used to think that their marriage had a chance. But the more I see them, the more I don't think they're actually that good for each other. I don't like how he tries to control her. The way he pressures her about having kids, it doesn't quite sit right with me. And neither does this. This doesn't sit right either. The way he's packing his bags in a bid to scare Julia.
After everything we've done, I don't see this as working.
You run after problem, you run away. This is not gonna help. If you're gonna run away, this will be over, do you know that?
Brandon hasn't given Julia any opportunity to explain why she applied for her parents' visa without telling him. He just ran away, like he's threatening to do again. He ran away and he cried. But probably because of her sense of guilt, Julia has a lot of time and patience for Brandon. And what she asks him isn't to not go, she just says, please just pause your packing for now. Let's just attend group therapy this afternoon, and afterwards if you still want to go, then go.
And if after group therapy you're not gonna change your mind, I'll let you go.
I'll put a pause on this for now. We'll see how things go today.
At this point, Brandon is looking for a huge gesture from Julia to prove to him that she's there to fix their marriage. And that exact opportunity arises during group therapy. You see, the therapists ask them about the problem they've identified in their relationship and the band-aid they've come up with to try and fix that problem.
I feel lied to. Like, I need to see something that shows me that she's gonna do something to make me feel better. I want Julia to get a second opinion on her fertility issue.
And there it is. This exercise has allowed Brandon to come up with a solution that he's willing to accept in order to make up for the hurt that Julia has caused him. And while it is a sensitive subject, it's actually a very good idea. Julia has been postponing getting a second opinion because she can't face getting bad news again. It would destroy her. But, in a bid to try and prove herself now to her husband...
If you won't do this, I will be agreed to do the second opinion.
You're tearing up. What's going through your brain? What are you feeling?
That's the bandage you needed.
Brandon's wanted this for a while. He's very keen to start a family. Like, he seems way more keen than Julia does. I mean, it really does feel one-sided, doesn't it? It's Brandon that wants this, it's Brandon that's pushing this, and now he's finally gonna get what he wants.
You guys, this is a major moment. This is a huge breakthrough for you guys.
So happy
Thank
for
you.
you. Yay!
Thank you. Wow.
Julia's tears prove that this means a lot to her too. Now, whether that's Brandon's forgiveness that means a lot to her, or whether it's the idea of starting a family, or perhaps it's the fact that they're finally making headway on their issue. Whatever the reason, it's clearly got her emotional. Julia has now proven to Brandon that she's willing to do what it takes to make things work. And as a result, Brandon is going to have to go and unpack his bags. He now also has to do his part. He now has to move on from the past.